I only ever see small fragments of genius now. There's no mastery anymore. And what I mean by that is that most ordinary people pursue ordinary lifestyles, and they only know enough about most subjects to have conversations about them. And that's fine, myself included. But my whole thing is being a professional human. And it's even in my LinkedIn bio, it says professional human. And people ask me all the time, like, what that means. And I tell them, I'm in pursuit of mastery of being a human being. And that means that if you don't have a thing, being a professional human requires confidence, cunning, articulating yourself, having social and emotional and self-awareness, creating and being physically capable. And if you're not pursuing mastery in a particular skill, a sport, a career, whatever it might be, then you have to be a professional human. Otherwise, you'll just end up being a master of none. And me personally, I found myself at a point where I could hold conversations about sports, about finance, politics, about my work or fitness or health. And I have a college degree, which tells the world, hey, I'm a competent individual and I'm licensed in real estate sales, but I'm not an expert in any of it. I just know the rhetoric. I can pull the stats or phrases out of my ass, but I am a master of none. All I know are the short facts or buzzwords or little quips that I get from podcasts or other conversations, or, let's be real, Instagram reels. I only have these small fragments of genius. Nothing is strung together. There's no mastery. And I quit my job last week, but in my now former industry, commercial real estate, there's a saying that gets tossed around, which is know enough to be dangerous. And as a young man, going in, I like that saying a lot. I almost lived by it. To me, it meant that being a master of none, you're able to hold your own in any conversation or meeting or networking event, which is essentially what it means. But, my perspective has changed slightly now because I think that being a master of none is actually a curse. It means to me to fake it and act like you know what you're talking about until you can just clock out and be sedentary on your couch. And that got me thinking a lot. Like, why don't people want to pursue greatness anymore? A lot of people know the famous quote from Alexander the Great, I think it was, which is like, it's, I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep, but I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. Why? Why are we so afraid to be lions anymore, man? I think one is because we live in a culture of consumption. Like, this culture of scrolling is so fast paced that if we're not on like Instagram for a week, we could miss out on some trend or niche lingo that when our friends say it in a sentence, they seem like alien to you. Like, I swear, I didn't know what 6'7" meant for like 2 months. Like, I felt like I was going like fucking insane. And people, they want to keep up. They want to be in the loop. They don't want to get FOMO. Don't get me wrong, social media can be pretty chill too. Like, the amount of like chicks I've met on Instagram or Snapchat or people in HR or like my future bosses I met on LinkedIn is crazy. But like, now I'll go on Instagram, Snapchat, or LinkedIn, like I'll connect with like my future wife or girlfriend or like some billionaire that wants to give me some crazy opportunity. And then I end up just doom scrolling for hours. And it's a habit that's so intertwined into routine that people don't notice it anymore. Like, you're at the gym in between sets, you're scrolling reels. You're taking in shit, reels. You're eating a meal or making dinner, you have a YouTube video on in the background. Like, I'll be at the bar in a corner with a drink in my hand on the weather app. Like, I'm not talking to people. There's no space for quiet anymore. Even in transition, you're listening to a podcast on the way to work. You're on a walk. Instead of listening to the birds chirping or the wind blowing through the trees, you're listening to music to set the vibes. Kids in like middle school or high school, they have 2 headphones in through the hallways. And I'm guilty of that too, man. Like, I just graduated. I got out of college. I went to Arizona and we had like the most beautiful girls, and it could be like 80 degrees and sunny out. I'm walking to class invisible with like my noise canceling headphones on, just bumping some shit. I'm not looking at anybody besides where I'm walking, and I'm just minding my own business. But really, I'm just anxious. I'm in my head. You know, I literally had these Johns on, these fucking noise cancelers. There's no quiet anymore, no white noise, no space for thought or creativity. And we see it every day. Like this master of none thing comes up with these like day in the life trends where people like they work out, they're absolutely shredded, they have a career, they have hobbies, they go on cool trips or adventures, they have crazy diets, a side hustle, maybe even a family. And it's all packaged into like this 30-second, minute-long reel. And that isn't, honestly, that's not realistic. And if anything, it discourages people from pursuing any one avenue, because in their head, to them, like there's someone out there that's already way better at it. And we're pushed now to have balance. We're pushed to grind and then create this balance in our lives to be masters of none, really. And the thing is, if it works, it's beautiful. If you can have a career that you love and crush it, you can be a homeowner, you can have a family and have a side hustle. Like that's literally what being a professional human being is. Like you've made it, bro. But it's not about what's external that creates value. It's not the money you have. You know, it's not the car you're driving or the job you have. It's what's inside that shows value, man. Like if you're happy doing what you're doing and pursuing what you are, and if you have goals, all power to you, bro. But, you know, for the rest of us who are still lost and feel like they have no talents or passions, for the rest of us sheep, like we have to pursue greatness in the human condition, in the mundane aspects of life. We have to stop consuming and learn how to focus. Like I can't tell you how normal it is for someone my age, like, and I'm 23, to be on Adderall and take it every day, you know, 10, 20, 30 milligrams a day, like this mind-altering substance, literally amphetamines that they used to give soldiers in Vietnam to stay awake. And then someone with like a finance job is taking it 20 milligrams a day because we can't focus anymore. And how many times have I tried something and not been immediately good at it and then quit a week later? Like skating, kickboxing, Spanish or any other language or piano. Like I try them all and I quit. I drop it like immediately. And so many people, they see some new trend or hobby or diet that they want to try just because it's trendy, so they can post about it or talk about it or be a part of it. You know, we consume so much and romanticize this balance. We romanticize this master of none thing that we now have a whole generation of people that can't focus. We're all on Adderall. We have unrealistic expectations. We see people our age or younger than us making $200,000-$300,000 a month when we're stuck at our $15, $20 an hour job for 8 hours a day. Or people like myself who have zero expertise in anything whatsoever. Another reason, there's no passion anymore. There's only the romantic idea of work-life balance on one end of the spectrum, or this like grind set millionaire playboy on the other side of the spectrum. And I think like intrinsically, deep down, people have the desire to be great or pursue greatness. I think in Baki, the anime, there's a quote that's like, every man has the desire to be the best in the world at something. And I see that a lot. Like a lot of my guy friends, they have this silent yearning to just be excellent, to be great at something. And, you know, most of them, they want to get rich. I get it. We're in that particular stage in our lives, but we're all in pursuit of excellence. Like everyone is silently in pursuit of excellence. And if you're not, then you're either the happiest man in the world or like the saddest man in the world. And I can't speak too much on women, but like as a guy, you know, one of the most attractive things for a girl to me is to be passionate about something like art or music or writing or being the best barista or coffee. You know, when I had a corporate job recently, you know, everyone was invisible to me. No one really stood out. And I was probably the same way, you know, like I went to networking events. I had coffee chats with people in my industry or other white collar jobs like insurance or finance or tech. And every dude, QZ, with like khakis or slacks or a button up with like a Patagonia vest on. Every single email, literally every single fucking email said like follow up, circle back, or let me touch base with you at least once. Like it was all so bland. And I'm curious, when did the world get so bland? Like the other day, I went to the library right down the street because I'm unemployed. I have nothing better to do. And it was really cool, actually. It was just like huge. I wasn't expecting much, but I wandered unknowingly into the kids section. And it was so vibrant and colorful. It had murals of fucking like birds and nature settings on the walls. And I only realized it was for kids when I noticed that the chairs were small. So I was like, oh shit, snapped out of my trance and walked out. And when I walked out, it was like a filter. Everything became beige and brown and like gray. And there was books everywhere for some reason. Adulthood, now it doesn't even try to look aesthetically appealing. You know? Like sure, we have cool break rooms now or fancy coffee makers. Like at my last job, we literally had 3 Nespressos. 3 Nespressos. I don't know about you, but I hated drinking an espresso. I would rather have like a big mug of regular black coffee because I'm a man. But it's all a facade, you know? And after COVID, no one wanted to go back to work. So these developers for these offices literally had to incentivize people to come back by throwing in gyms, pickleball courts on the roof, or beer on tap to get people to go back in the office instead of being like, you know, I was happy at home doing the things that I actually like, spending more time with my family, being more productive. But now there's a happy hour at 5:30 on Fridays. So I guess I'll go back to doing the thing that caused me so much stress and anxiety and time away from like my family or doing the things I like. Fuck it. And the projects you have to do across the board, you know, timelines of a week, it takes you like an hour to complete. And then you're just twiddling your thumbs at your desk. And I found myself oftentimes, as I'm sure many other corporate slaves do, just staring down the clocks as the minutes pass by, just counting down the days until Friday to then go on an alcohol bender. Like I would black out Friday, Saturday, and then just sit in my bed on Sundays and then do it all again. You know, I sidelined that pursuit of excellence because the work itself was all consuming. And I just needed a paycheck and I was chill. That was enough, you know? And I'm fortunate enough now to be in a position where I can quit my job on a whim like I did and just talk to myself here. But like the lack of passion today is clear. You know, people aren't passionate about what they work or about their work, which, I mean, let's be real, takes up like 70% of people's time and energy, time that could be spent, you know, potentially away from your family or away from your hobbies. Like take a regular 9 to 5. At the very least, you have to get ready and commute. You know, girls, they have to put on makeup and look pretty. Guys, they have to maybe shave and put on a suit. So then it becomes like a 7:30 or an 8 o'clock to 6. And then if you work out or cook, that's another 2-3 hours. Or if you have to you know, pick up your kids from an extracurricular or from the babysitter or wherever, that's literally your whole day. You know, these jobs are all consuming. And if your passion isn't like a pickleball league on Tuesdays and Thursdays or working out or picking up your kids, then it better be your job, which it probably isn't. So that removes the passion from anything. And what happens when you have no affinity for your job and no time to do the things you actually enjoy? What happens? Like you don't get good at anything. I can't tell you how many little projects that I've sidelined or goals that I've had that I've sidelined because of my work. But let me just say this. If just going back to the professional human thing, if you don't have any passions or know what they are, then show up to work. Make some money, go to the gym, eat right, dominate the pickleball courts if that's your thing. If you don't know what to pursue, then pursue becoming a professional being. I'm not saying to quit your job like me, but I am saying to not waste your time if you aren't pursuing greatness. You know, like me, I would show up to work telling myself that, you know, if I was there to then put myself in a position financially to then pursue my passions. And that's fucking retarded. That is so stupid. Like I was gaslighting myself into thinking that I was there for 40, 50 hours a week, trying to persuade these rich people to let me sell their Starbucks portfolio so then I could then achieve a level of success to pursue my passions. rather than just cutting out the middleman, cutting out my job to gain the extra 80% of that time to pursue my passion. And I became good at nothing. You know, I was in sales, and sales, you know, any guru will tell you that it's the most important skill to have, but really it's just like, I'm a human, you're a human, you got money, I got a thing that you might want, give me your money to sell you this shit. You know, that's essentially what sales is. You know, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I did it. So insider information right here. And my job wasn't important. There was no skill, like I said, to master worth mastering. And with all my other projects on hold, I became this master of none. I became great at having like useless conversations with people, only to add in the small fact or little quip that I knew from like the reel that I watched this morning or the podcast I listened to on the way to work. Lastly, I think art is dead. Art literally has become so ass. I find no good music anymore. No good shows or movies. And not even like good authentic content. Like, it's become so commercialized. It's made the prize money. It's made our attention and our focus the currency. Like, no one makes shit for the sake of making shit anymore. And it kills the art. Like, that kills the art. Like movies, I don't know if you've noticed it, but movies now have so much dialogue because they know that we'll be on our phones. You know, you'll watch a movie on Netflix. It's like some new Netflix original. And they're like, we're walking to this location and we have to go here. Or it's like, I am sad. What, you know, I can see that you're walking. I can see through your acting that you're crying. So you're probably sad. Or through your facial expression that you're sad. And just music has been so Hollywood. Like, I have not listened to some new shit besides like house music or people's sets. And now like the content, like old YouTube used to be so fire. There used to be people pumping out like original, unique shit. But now it's like, it has flashing lights and subtitles and sound effects just to keep our attention. Like any Mr. Beast video, you'll see that literally. You know, and as a Christian man myself, like I believe we were made in God's image. And now we have to live in accordance with his will. So I believe that we were called upon to create. You know, like the God, the creator of the universe who made us. So now we have to live in accordance with his will. So we have to create. We're called upon to create and not consume. You know, we have to start making shit again. We have to pursue greatness and pursue becoming professional human beings. And it is this big loop. Like, art is dead because passion is dead because we live in a culture of consumption. So, like, if you have to, fucking quit your job, create something, and have passion. And pursue mastery. Pursue mastery in, like, one avenue. Or if you don't have a thing, pursue mastery in becoming a human being.